Meanwhile, the three state chairmen of the People's Democratic Party, loyal to National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu, are calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize Abdurrahman Mohammed as the party's legitimate national chairman, as well as Mao Ohabunwa as chairman of the Board of Trustees. The move comes just days after INEC recognized Umar Damagum as PDP chairman following the Ekiti State governorship primary election. Addressing journalists, PDP Imo State Chairman Austin Ugochukwu stresses that his faction remains committed to peaceful dialogue and party unity.
We therefore express our full support to the emergence of Alhaji Abdurrahman Mohammed as the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, and also Senator Mao Ohabunwa as the chairman of the Board of Trustees BOT of our great party. We have absolute confidence in their leadership capacity, experience, and integrity to steer the PDP through this period of renewal and repositioning. Both leaders embody the democratic spirit, institutional memory, and inclusive vision required to build trust, restore confidence, and drive the process of reconciliation and reorganization across all levels of the party. We are persuaded that under the guideline of the PDP, under their guidance, the PDP will be better repositioned to play its historic role as the principal promoter and defender of democracy in Nigeria.
As Nigeria heads toward the 2027 general elections, questions about credibility, reform, and voter confidence dominate national discourse. But joining me now to unpack the future of Nigeria's electoral process, examining reforms, integrity, as well as institutional accountability, is James Ugochukwu. He's an election expert and good governance advocate. He's also the Regional General Secretary, West African Civil Society Forum. Thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you so much, my sister. Thank you for having me.
I mean, when you look at the numbers, again, just as our introduction has said, 2027 is not here yet. But there are conversations around what would that look like, considering where we're coming from in 2023 and recent elections, by-elections and governorship elections, such as the Anambra governorship election, where we saw the numbers of registered voters, those who collected their voters' cards, and those who eventually voted to bring back the governor in the case of Anambra State. The conversation is, why are Nigerians turning away from the polling? Why are they turning back from voting? Why are they not voting?
A lot of factors can be attributed to voter apathy. Number one is when the electoral promises are not being kept by the political class, then the people will be wondering what's the point going into this exercise any longer. And that shows you that people are becoming political conscious, because the essence of governance is to provide dividend of democracy for the people, and the people make their choices, even though we have a system where people will go to the polls and the judiciary will decide who the winner is at the end of the day. So the kind of election we conduct, which is a winner takes it all. So for instance now, as a voter, you go to the polls, you know who you have voted for. Then at the end of the day, they go to court. Then there's somebody that is fourth position or third position will match the winner. So this kind of a thing dampens the morale of the voters. That's on one point. The second point is the insecurity that surrounds most elections. Okay, Anambra now will have one of the most peaceful elections in Anambra. At least we are not counting ballot and dead bodies at the same time. But over time, we've seen a situation where election is marred with violence to the point of counting several people that are killed during election, even pre-election, even post-election violence. So most of these things makes people to look at election as a violence exercise that they should stay away from. Another thing again is irregularities in the voters register and all that. You discover situation where people will go to polling unit, they won't be able to see their name, or they are even ready to vote, but you discover that there's a last-minute change in terms of voting area delimitation by INEC, and at the end of the day, they become frustrated. The other point again, there are several other points actually. On election day at times, you see people that will come out to vote, and they will stay till 12 o'clock. Election are supposed to start by 8:30 in the morning. They stay till 12 o'clock, till 1 o'clock.
And that's because the logistics of the electoral body in starting the election process.
We could still remember the 2023 election where people voted by 12 midnight, 3 a.m. in FCT here. So these are the things that you see can dampen the morale of a lot of voters. So if you look at all these things holistically, you discover that we still have a lot of things to iron out in terms of making the voting process seamlessly and, of course, very free of violence for everybody.
We'll come back to what we need to do. I mean, as we literally count down to 2027 and the electoral process beginning. But just yesterday, there was a national conversation where speakers practically put majority of the blame on the Nigerian people. For instance, former River State Governor Rotimi Amaechi and former Minister of Transportation did say, if the people don't come out, despite these excuses you have highlighted, or the reasons you've highlighted, if the people don't come out, then there are the reasons why politicians can rig elections and get away with them. Because the number of people who eventually come out will determine who gets into office. Do you agree with him and those who share that view that the people just have to show up?
Yes,
and vote?
Yes, people just have to show up and vote in the sense that it takes a lot of voter party for rogue politicians to rig election. For instance, if we have 1,000 registered voters in a particular polling unit, if 200 turned up, remember we have about 800 left. So with proper connivance with rogue election officials and the party agents and all that, so the figures can be altered, and it's the figure that the collation officer at the RAC or the state level or the national level will be looking at the end of the day. So nobody wants to know. So those figures can be manipulated. So in a way, he's very right. It's very important for people to turn up on election day. The more people turn up, the more it's difficult for the politicians to rig their election. And of course, the more people turn up, and they stay back to even protect their mandate, because voting is one thing, ensuring that your vote counts is another thing, because if you vote and you don't stay when it's being counted and sorted, then anything can happen behind you, because I've always said that election is lost and won at the polling unit. If mandate is well protected at the polling unit, it will be difficult for anybody to rig any election for anyone.
Let's talk about the civil society. The civil society is supposed to be a guardrail for democracy. Would you say that the civil society has played enough role in holding the electoral body accountable, politicians accountable when it comes to our electoral process?
Yes, I think when it comes to our electoral process, the challenge we keep having is our political class. Yes, because the civil society have played their role. They've done a lot of work with the election management bodies. Most of the reforms we are seeing now that election management body is implementing in terms of electronic voting, in terms of voter simultaneous accreditation and voting and all that were suggested by the civil society. And most of the electoral reforms you see, most of them are suggested by the civil society by submitting memoranda, by pointing out what needs to be done. Because remember, during elections, it's only the civil society that have the leverage to move around all the polling units. You
have access,
they have
unlimited access.
Unlimited access to all the polling units. So we see everything from a larger lens than what other stakeholders can see. Maybe perhaps even the security, some of the security are stationed in the polling units. It's only the civil society that move around. So that's why you see when we come with our report, it covers every single segment of the electoral process. So we've done a lot of things in terms of training of security operatives and agencies on election management, engaging with legislators on what to put in the next law and all that.
Okay.
And of course, working with the election management bodies. And of course, holding them accountable from media engagement like this, from press releases and all that, on what they need to do and what they need to be done.
And just as I let you go, given that bird's eye view that civil society like yours do have, what then do we need to do beyond voter behavior and all of these issues you have highlighted, the constitutional or legal frameworks? What exactly can we do to make sure that the numbers between voter registration and voter counts at the end of the day isn't so much a gap?
Well, it's a multi-stakeholder affair, and it's not only the civil society that are saddled with that as responsibility. Everybody needs to play their role. One, the politicians need to start voters mobilization, because we have a political class that actually don't see voters as who they should have any engagement with pre-election.
Why do you think that is so?
Yes, because they believe that they can just have a war chest to pay for votes on election day, like the vote buying that they do and all that. So the political class needs to work very well in terms of voter mobilization. The media need to do a lot of sensitization. We, the civil society, will do a lot about voter education. And of course, the security too should ensure that they will come out on election day, ensure that everybody is protected, ensure that those that are selling or buying votes are apprehended and prosecuted to the highest extent of the law.
All right. Thank you so much, James Ugochukwu. I think it was one lawmaker who said perhaps we should start considering legalizing and penalizing those who refuse to vote on election day. Maybe there's something we should explore, but we don't have enough time tonight to discuss it. Election expert and good governance advocate, thank you so much for being on the news tonight.